Good morning, everybody. So I'm Charlie Bourne, practitioner for today, and in service with me are two of our newer practitioners, Christy and Kristen. And so they're excited to be here, learning the ropes, and so you'll see them more often, as we go through the upcoming months. But let's start off today with an opening song by Dalton, and just join in if you like. Is it a song to join in or not?
We can.
You can join in with your heart. Okay.
I think maybe I'll... play this through a few times. Anybody who's not familiar with it can pick it up. This is here, this is now, this is what it's all about. This is now, this is here, and it's very clear. I can feel my life. From this point in time, I can see my path. From this point in time, and I know the way is to make this moment shine. Here and now, make this moment shine. This is here, this is now, this is what it's all about. This is now, this is here, and it's very clear. I can see my life. From this point in time, I can see my path. From this point in time, and I know the way is to make this moment shine. Here and now, to make this moment shine. Try to sing along with me this one time. This is here. This is here. This is now. This is now. This is what it's all about. This is now. This is now. This is here. This is here. It's very clear. And it's very clear. I can feel my life from this point in time. From this point in time, I can see my path. From this point in time, from this point in time, and I know the way is to make this moment shine. Here and now, make this moment shine. Here and now, make this moment shine.
Thank you, Dalton. So before I get into the program, I want to invite the children up. And while we're doing that, and we'll sing them out to their Sunday classes, but let's turn and wave to the camera because we're on YouTube Live and we're on Facebook Live, and we know people watch after the fact too. So here's your opportunity to be seen around the world. Well, I held back my laugh, but not some of you. It's so cute. So, welcome for this warm Sunday morning, and appreciate seeing everybody here today. You know, I'd like to thank everybody in service. We have Lindy in the sound booth, Doug and Ronnie as ushers and greeters. We have Jane at the board desk. We have the kitchen cookies, back and, to help out, and we have coffee and some snacks afterwards. And so, just a reminder, we welcome you to the center where we inspire and empower people to live spiritually fulfilling lives. And that's our mission here at this center, is to be a welcoming place for everyone to come and feel embraced and to feel love. And so we have plenty of classes and activities that are ongoing, meditation during the week and classes during the day and classes at night. And so we just invite you to join in with that. And I also wanted to remind you that we do have, we hand this out every time it has a listing of everything going on for the week. And then in the awareness newsletter, if you're not getting it, you can sign up for that. And it talks about what's going on for the month. And then also a message from Reverend Sue. So just a reminder, those are really good sources, as well as our website. So if we have anybody new today, if you want to raise your hand and we'll bring you an information packet. So I know Diego's new. That's great. And so we'll show you around afterwards, but Diego showed up yesterday at Landscape and he says, "What can I do to help?" And we said, "Well, follow us." And we had a good 3 to 4 hours of hard work, and he was wonderful, so thank you. Yeah. So anyway, so moving on with the announcements, I'm going to invite Dr. Mary up to discuss several of her announcements.
There's only 2. 3? Oh, dear. Anyway, about 3 months ago, I started a caregiver support group here. And it's second Thursdays from 10 in the morning to noon, and it's this Thursday. That's because my husband has needed my care, it doesn't matter, but he needs my care. Anyway, it's hard to be a caregiver. It's challenging, very challenging. And so we share, and we have a book and a workbook, and we talk about it, and it feels good to share because it's challenging, and we all think we're all alone, and we're not. So if you'd like to join us, even if you just want to come and listen, we really would love to have you come. So that's this Thursday. And then I'm starting a class called Sacred America, Sacred World. This is a book by the Shift Network, Stephen Dinan, and he wrote it several years ago, and it's so poignant today that we have such troubled times and such conflict in the world and conflict in society. And he said, the most important thing is to learn oneness and respect and integrity and love. And he goes through all of the politics, he goes through world affairs, and it's really poignant. And if you'd like to just get out and discuss it, I put together a 43-page workbook, so we will have some fun doing that. And so that starts Tuesday at 1 o'clock. So hope to see you there. On Sunday, July 17th, I'll be doing an Essence class after service. An Essence class is about 45 minutes, and it talks about the essence of this teaching. We have a little brochure, and we talk about it and get to know, what does it mean to come here? What do we teach? What's the philosophy like? What is the essence of it? So love to have you come to that on July 17th. So there were 3. Thank you.
Good job. You get a thumbs up. Okay. So I did want to mention, if you don't know who the kitchen cookies are, it's Bill and Shirley, in the kitchen. And they're always looking for support, for helping out in that area. And then we started to have a monthly potluck. It's the last Sunday of the month. And so, you can bring a dish, and so just contact them and just bring your favorite dish. And it's a good time to get to know people and have conversation. And then I just wanted to acknowledge Dalton and Judy again for the music support today. Thank you. Yes, they do deserve an applause. Yeah. Yeah. So a few of the other quick announcements. So Shari on Wyndham's going to have her watercolor class on Monday starting July 11th, 9:30 to 12, and then on Wednesday starting July 13th, 1 to 3, minimum of 4 students. We have a book club starting up with our practitioner, Robin Backstrom, and this is a cool book. It's The Diamond in Your Pocket. And so that's going to be Monday starting July 11th from 2 to 4 p.m. So that'll be, Robin does an incredible job with her book clubs. And then we have Reverend Helen Cummings from the Buddhist tradition having a series of classes called the Metta Sutra, the Buddha's teaching on loving kindness. So that's starting Wednesdays, July 13th, and it's in the evening, 6:30 to 7:30. So I'm going to come to that because I'm available in the evenings. And so I really look forward to that. It's talking about the fundamental teaching in Buddhism and one that is often used as an introduction to spiritual practice. And then SOAR is having another event coming July 16th, Mount Shasta, Panther Meadows to the Southgate Trail. So you could check in with Cher on that. And again, that's on July 16th. And I think that wraps up our brief announcements. And just remember, everything's on paper somewhere around here. So we're going to go into our reading now. We're going to have Lori do the reading. And then we'll have the invitation to the bell with a brief silence after the bell. And then we're going to have our treatment today by Shirley Wade, one of our practitioners. Okay?
These are the parallel sayings of the self from the Gospel of Money. That's M-A-N-I. He who sees himself only on the outside, not within, becomes small and makes others small. From the Gospel of Thomas. If you have come to know yourself, then you will be called the one who knows himself. But if you do not know yourself, then you know nothing. For those who have known themselves, they know the all. From the Upanishads. The self is hidden in all beings, but is manifest only to those who have the intuitive abilities to recognize it. From the Buddha. He who experiences the unity of life sees his own self in all beings, and all beings in his own self, and looks on everything with an impartial eye. The Tao Te Ching. Some see the self as wondrous. Others speak of it as marvelous. Others hear of it and wonder. Still others hear of it, but do not understand it at all. From Lao Tzu. He who knows others is wise. He who knows himself is enlightened.
We join together this morning in remembering that there's only one power, one life, one love, and one presence. We know and understand ourselves to be expressions of this divine grace. We acknowledge this presence within ourselves and within one another. And so we look for ways to reflect empathy and loving kindness in our relationships. Sharing this life experience with one another, we are mindful of our common need for love and compassion. We look within, asking for guidance and understanding as we share life experiences with one another. We ask Spirit for guidance in this journey as we make our way throughout the days ahead, knowing that we are surrounded by love and light. We experience a deep sense of gratitude. And so we release our word to the law, and together we say, and so it is.
Good morning. Thank you, Shirley and Judy, Charlie, Mary, everybody. We start listing everybody again. Nice Bill, Christy. So I'm here to talk about something really, really important. All the month, it's about relationship. And I'm gonna start by sharing why this message is so important to the Centers for Spiritual Living at large. This is a statement on their reason for this theme this month. And so today's talk is You and I Are We. And their message to all of us is there's only God. The way we relate to ourselves, one another, the world, and with the universal power are all interconnected, inseparable. We cannot claim to love God while hating ourselves. We cannot declare that it is a just and equitable universe while treating people, animals, people, the earth, unjustly, inequitably. This month is the invitation to anchor in the spiritual practices of engaged relationships and actively reveling in the wonder of how each relationship is ultimately a relationship of spirit with itself. So those seem like a lot of words, perhaps, but it has so much truth to it. It has within it the answer to some of our angst and our suffering that we might have felt in the anxious heart when we deal with the news of the day, the various horrific shootings and the other ideas that are coming out through our human rights. And all of us are touched by it one way or another. And sometimes we come to a church or a center or a synagogue or a temple to find refuge of our heart, to find answers, because we seem to be beating our head up against a wall so often during the week. And I can only speak from a place to invite us to continue to know that these effects are all getting our attention. They all have pieces of our heart. And we're all reaching out to each other to find our way, to live together in compassion and equanimity and love. And how do we do that? We find the spiritual truths. Lori read from the book that I have referenced often, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, Lao-Tzu, The Parallel Sayings by Richard Hooper. It's filled with across the board. if Christianity is saying this, Buddhism is saying the same thing, the Tao says it this way, the Vedic text, Krishna, says it this way. And then we find the common nutshell in all of it, and our hearts are lifted. That's the invitation, to continue to lift our hearts to this greater knowing, this one God. Now, last week it was a powerful message from Reverend Andy Torkelson. And he changed his whole message up just because he heard the song that the 360 band started off with, the Beach Boys. And it sent Reverend Andy into a very tender place about the reason this particular song was being sung. Well, I happened across another beautiful story this week, so I'm going to continue that message of how I really believe, that's why we raise and praise the musicians here for what they bring us, because words are words, but when the music hits our heart, we open in a way that only music can do. And so this incredible story gives us a very deep perspective on the message, you and I are we. You might have read this yourself. It was a long story, though. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Remember that song? Hello, darkness, my old friend. Just right away, the tune just starts to swim through your heart. And everyone knows the iconic Simon and Garfunkel song. But I don't know how many of you know the amazing story behind that very first line. Where did it come from? And so I'm going to share with you what I discovered in this article. It began 62 years ago when Art Garfunkel, a Jewish kid from Queens, he enrolled in Columbia University. And when it was during his freshman orientation, Art met a student from Buffalo named Sandy Greenberg. Now, this is actually from Sandy Greenberg's memoirs. So he wrote this himself. And they immediately bonded over their shared passion for literature and music. Art and Sandy became roommates and best friends. With the idealism of their youth, they promised to be there for each other no matter what. Soon after starting college, Sandy was struck by a tragedy. His vision became blurry, and although doctors originally diagnosed it as a temporary condition of conjunctivitis, that it would go away, the problem only grew worse. And finally, after seeing a specialist, Sandy received the devastating news that he was suffering from severe glaucoma that was destroying optic nerves in his eyes, and this young man, who had a bright future before him, would soon be completely blind. Well, Sandy, hearing that news, was devastated, as most of us would be as a young person in college with your future, your studies ahead of you. He went into a very deep, dark depression. He gave up his dream of becoming a lawyer, and he moved back to Buffalo, and then all he did there was worry about being a burden upon his parents, who were already a financially struggling family. Consumed with shame, fear, this young man cut off contact with all of his old friends, refusing to answer their letters, refusing to return a phone call. Then suddenly, to Sandy's shock, his buddy Art showed up at his front door. He was not going to allow his best friend to give up on life, so he bought a ticket, flew to Buffalo, unannounced, and Art convinced Sandy to give college another chance and promised that he would be right by his side to make sure he didn't fall, literally or figuratively. Art kept his promise. He faithfully escorted Sandy around the campus, effectively serving as his eyes. It was important to Art, even though Sandy had been plunged into this world of darkness, he should never feel alone. I and we are one. He continued, Art actually started calling himself Darkness. To demonstrate his empathy for his friend, he'd say things like, "Darkness is going to read to you now." Art organized his entire life around helping Sandy. One day, while Art was guiding Sandy through the crowded Grand Central Station, when he suddenly said, "I have to go. I have to go." And he left his friend alone and petrified. So Sandy stumbled, bumped into people, fell, had a cutting gash on his shin, but after a few couple of hellish hours, Sandy finally got on the right subway train after exiting the station at 116th Street. Sandy bumped into someone who quickly apologized, and Sandy immediately recognized Art's voice. Turned out his trusting friend had followed him the whole way home, making sure he was safe and giving him the priceless gift of independence. Sandy later said, that moment was the spark that caused me to live a completely different life, without fear, without doubt. It gives me chills each time I read this. For that, I am tremendously grateful to my friend. So Sandy did graduate from Columbia and earned his degree in Harvard and Oxford, married his high school sweetheart, and became an extremely successful entrepreneur and philanthropist. So while at Oxford, Sandy gets a call from Art. At this time, Art was the one who needed help. He formed a folk rock duo with his high school pal, Paul Simon, and they desperately needed $400 to record their first album. Sandy and his wife, Sue, had $404 in their bank account. Without hesitation, Sandy gave his old friend what he needed. Art and Paul's first album was not a success, but one of the songs, The Sounds of Silence. The Sounds of Silence became the #1 hit a year later. The opening line echoed the way Sandy always greeted Art. Simon and Garfunkel went on to become one of the most beloved musical acts. These two Columbian graduates, each of whom had added so much to the world in their own way, today are still best friends. Isn't it a beautiful story? My heart just pours out. Art Garfunkel said that when he became friends with Sandy, my real life emerged. I became a better guy in my own eyes and began to see who I was, somebody who gives to a friend. Sandy described himself, I am the luckiest man in the world. I think we need to be reminded of these powerful stories because, as we know, there is a story behind every song that touches us deeply. Think about the Beatles when they say, love is all there is. So Desmond Tutu, from his Book of Joy, he says, we don't really get close to others if our relationship is just made up of an unending hunky-doriness. It is the hard times, the painful times, the sadness, the grief that knit us more closely together. Another great reason to check in with Mary's support caregiving group. It knits us together in a way that we find greater strength, greater heart, greater support, friendship. So current day research, as we know, has helped us see through all the neuroscience that we are wired. The brain is actually wired for us to connect to each other. And Daniel Goldman, I've mentioned him before, he wrote Social Intelligence. He reveals how they described that the brain's very design is to make us sociable. We are drawn into this intimate brain-to-brain link-up with another person. But it reminds us that it's a double-edged sword. Nourishing relationships have a beneficial impact on our health, while toxic ones can act like slow poison to the body. Yuck. And I thought, that's what we sometimes feel, though. This toxicity by relating to, we don't even know the people that we're angry with, but somehow they made us angry. So, Earnest Holmes lifts it up. He puts his understanding on a higher order, seeing that every relationship, since there's but one spirit, and this spirit is in you and in everything, then everywhere you go, you meet spirit. You meet the spirit in people, places, and things. Love is the only final security in the universe. Love is the greatest healing power in the universe. The only thing that binds people together in a community is spirit. We have each other. We have each other. And I hear the voices. I hear the questions. I hear the concerns. And as a minister's heart, I sit with it and go, what is mine to say here? I'd give anything to say the right thing and the whole world just, poof, was happy. Love, love, love. I would love that. I can't find the words. And I am sent information from Universalist centers where they are speaking to issues, and I'm thinking, I love that, but it's not me. I love all of you, but I can't find the words. I can't find that one word that would help us accept love. And so I reached out to Reverend Kat, who has spoken with us before, and she is a Universalist, and she's going to speak to us again in September and do a series of conversations of the heart that bridge us back together. So it'll be a venue for us to be very safe and to hear one another. And part of me, as I was putting this together, realized, we were born so free when we were this innocent little bundle. And then we started making choices. I'm going to be a Girl Scout. I'm going to be a club president. And then I went through the 60s, and I was born and raised in a strong Republican family, but I was a hippie. And much to my father's concern, I became a liberal. And I became a vegetarian. That was even more horrifying for him because I wouldn't eat his beef stew. So all of these things, but they were all my choices. They were my choices because something in me resonated with an idea that was within a certain group thought. But am I still that? I don't know. That's part of my message today. Have I revisited all of those things that I became at one time and named myself as so? Maybe I'm not that anymore. Maybe none of us are any of these things we've been pigeonholed into, right? Where's our freedom? Where's our choice? Where's our heart? Where's our love and our compassion, our empathy? Reach across. They're our friends. Just because they're another party doesn't mean we now need to shun them. We can't have a society built on that. I'm off track here, but I feel passionate about that. Recognizing that if we go back to the idea that a brain is linking us together, the instrument of the body, but the mind itself, the brain is the brain. Beautiful. But the mind is in your heart, in the brain, and in the gut. And we each operate with this divine intelligence flowing through us, continually channeling its way through all our perceptions and ideas and labels, who we think we are, through either one of those centers, head, heart, gut. And you know who you are, because it's how you live and process information. So that one universal mind that we speak of that is all love is flowing through all of that. For those of you that sit in meditation, recognize that the human mind is also the monkey mind, and it starts to walk all over the place, walk all over you when you start to listen to its storytelling. But you have to go deeper. You have to go deeper into silence, into that place where all of a sudden, that all calms down into the qualities of stillness and peace. And we start to train our mind. It's a work in progress, like we're doing a little puppy training, to sit and dwell in these qualities of the universal mind for our greater understanding and guidance. It's what we can do. So all of our living in these times has been an invitation to recognize that we are in evolving consciousness. We cannot remain complacent in thinking of all the years. This really got to me this week, and I don't know, maybe I'm a little behind the 8 ball here, but sometimes you think, well, I must know it by now, so maybe I don't need to study this stuff anymore. No, we're always evolving. how we see things today just goes back to that same wise prophecy that we can't solve the problems with the same level of intelligence. We need to go deeper, higher. We need to be bigger. Love needs to be more than what we're looking at. Digging to find our understanding of others, to understand the world. There's a different frequency that we're called to tune into that we might not have adapted our skill set yet of understanding and feeling comfortable with what's going on. But what is what is. And if we don't practice letting go and realizing I'm just fixating so much on my own way with this, righteously so, that I'm not even hearing I'm not hearing the fear, and I'm not hearing the pain. I love something that Sally Foster wrote to me this week, because she says, we grumble sometimes about the destruction of the homeless upon our property. And she says, my idea, may I have a prayer circle to pray for the homeless in Redding. And I thought, why didn't I think of that? It's such a beautiful, healing, holy thought. So Sally and I will get together and pick a Sunday afternoon when she's here and just say, we're the prayer circle. We're going to pray for some of these hard things. Just offer it up to prayer, because prayer is a spoken word of love. So as we do our spiritual practices and really humbly say, I'm willing to try to have the difficult conversations, I'm willing to find this sacred harmony again, because we have the choice. That means we have the choice, and when we accept that choice, we are vulnerable, because our heart is opening where we have been sitting, especially through COVID isolation, very protected. And we have to come out. We have to come out and hear one another, because we can no longer just hold on to our point of reference without budging it. There's something new trying to be expressed here, longing to open. A shift is happening, and we have a choice. So my favorite expression through all of this, when I come against those stuck places inside of me, hell, I don't know, but God knows. I don't know, but God knows. And then I go deeper. And so when I hold those visionings once a month on the last Sunday of the month, we ask these questions. We go into the visioning process to ask those questions. What is longing to be expressed by the divine now? What is the greater vision that I am asked to see here? What is my part? And in those questions, as we sit quietly in the question, we also say, what is mine to do? And what is blocking me? And we vulnerably listen, and then we share. And we make that moment of sharing a testimony of our willingness to at least try. So look at the places where we've been stubborn or opinionated. Put it down for just a moment and let something greater reveal itself. Because everything in life is holding this powerful energy that is moving and finding its way to fruition. Now, Gurdjieff says, what prevents people, and I had this conversation with the board recently, what prevents people from having conversations, discussions about such things as faith, sex, money, politics? Each of these things are things that relate to us as humans. What is it about them that causes friction and distance rather than understanding and connection? And he says, live a life of friction. Let yourself be disturbed as much as possible, but observe. Observe. And he's speaking to that divine still place inside of you. So as we close this, I invite you to look at the places where you've outgrown some of the things that you thought you were still championing. Maybe you haven't realized it. Maybe your current view is no longer workable or serving the greater good. That wisdom came to me from Lindy when I was sharing with her, what do I do? What's mine to do here? And she said, things don't erupt unless there's something greater trying to express itself. Something was already broken. And I looked at that and thought, that relates to so many things, and it's spoken from a wise child that I raised. But can we be so bold to use every dissatisfaction, every friction that we feel, to know it's a call to reform? What part of ourself is being lost? And here can we retrieve compassion and empathy and be kinder to one another? Can our automatic reactions and responses be tamed? And that we start to look at things more closely, realizing whatever I say here is going to serve humanity's greater good. May I choose my words very wisely. Or do I want to continue to argue and bitterly curse? I want to unravel my own personal reactions. And I choose and I dedicate myself for the rest of my life to continue to do the work of seeing the presence in others, to dissolve my layers of defending, and connecting, as the Buddhist practice is, connect to the inner beingness of one another. Because disconnection from the divine flow of love is its worst. So I invite you into the practice of really thinking about what it means. You see it so often. Namaste. And when I do namaste, when I'm finished with my yoga classes, you'll see me tap my head, tap my mouth, tap my heart, and open my hands. May my mind, my thoughts, my words I speak, my heart, keep me in the knowing of what the blessing of Namaste is. I honor the place within you where the entire universe resides. I honor the place within you of love and light, of peace and truth. I honor the place within you where, when you are in that place, in you, and I am in that place, in me, there is only one. It's an honoring. And when you get to the place at your heart and you open your hands, you are tearing down the walls. So we're going to invite ourselves to boldly decide to live a life of some friction instead of burying our heads of fear. Afraid that we're going to get our head bit off or snapped off by somebody that seems a little wiser, more articulate than we are. Seems like they're a little more sure of themselves. We are too. We let ourselves stand undefended, as it's called, and realizing sometimes it's going to be rough because not everybody's playing the spiritual game. But you are. You are making a choice. And you are choosing now to lighten up. And if it gets hard when you're in conversation, then be quiet. Be still. And discern how much further do you want to go with the way it's going. Maybe you need to pull back and find a deeper handhold on love. Yoga Swami says, if the chimney is full of smoke, how can the light be seen? The mind is full of dirt, how can the soul shine? The call is to clean our doors and windows of perception. Tapping in to the source of the divine is our only way, the God consciousness. The two great commandments in the Bible are love God with all your heart and might. And then the second, love your neighbor as yourself. Everyone is our neighbor. So I had, my time is up, but I wanted to share just a very brief story, and I'll paraphrase it a little bit here. This is from looking at the chapter of love and compassion from Parallel Sayings. This is Mother Teresa. Love is a fruit in season at all times and within the reach of every heart. This story was an encounter that took place by a Jewish rabbi and his wife and a member of a white supremacist group that hated the Jews. Circumstances arose in which the young man, along with his brethren, broke into the synagogue and destroyed most of it, defacing almost every surface with racial slurs and slogans of intolerance. Now, we feel those reactions. We hear those in the news today. This is not an isolated event. If something like this were to happen to most of us, our first reaction might be of equal anger and disgust. We might call the police, hopes that the responsible parties will be found, arrested, severely punished. We probably feel horribly violated, and our intolerance of hate groups would become more intense. Some of us might even want to retaliate in kind. But instead of calling the police, the rabbi and his wife went looking for the responsible people. They were finally located one member of the hate group, and instead of responding with anger, they told him they loved him. Their response so disarmed the man that the rabbi invited him to dinner at the couple's home, and the man eventually accepted that invitation. And after dinner, the rabbi and his wife talked with this young man for many hours, during which time he shared his life story. Not surprising for the couple to learn that this poor lost soul was abused, unloved as a child. Neither was it surprising to them that his role models had been parents who were bigots. It was apparent to the rabbi and his wife that the young man's hatred had nothing to do with them, any more than it had to do with the fact they were Jewish. They understood that this young person's hate was really an expression of his own pain and suffering. Life had been hard and cruel, so he had become hard and cruel to survive. The rabbi and his wife did not see a hate-filled criminal before them, someone who ought to be vilified and punished. They saw a human being who desperately needed love and compassion. So take that story in and feel the walls come down. Breathe into what remains open and vulnerable. Because what you feel here in the space of this beautiful heart that is in touch with your emotions, your feelings, your disappointments, your successes, this heart that knows itself in you is able to reach out and see this same true heart in your neighbor. And that request is to love God before all other things, to love the divine, to love nature, to love spirit, to love the Divine Mother, to love the mystery, to love that which is nameless in the Tao. Love there first, and then open your eyes and heart to see who stands before you and find the conversation of love. Find the bridge that takes you to the other side, into understanding, into grace, into willingness. And recognize how that feels. Even playing the scenario out in your mind's vision, it feels healing and wholesome and powerful and real and doable. And the world and society and your best friends are calling for it. Can you feel it? Can you hear it? The call to let down, to let go, and to let love be. So I give thanks to be able to stand in a community that already knows the power of love, that allows music to open them, to allow the wisdom and the prayers to inspire them. I stand together with all of us And we are a powerful lighthouse to the greater community. We are a resource of love. We stand in truth. I release this prayer knowing that we are each touched in our own way, and we take the words and we do what we want with every choice before us. And we put our hands together at the heart, and the fingertips touch the forehead. May my thoughts be filled with loving kindness. May my words express loving kindness. May my heart reveal the common truth. And I release this prayer knowing you and I are one. And so it is. Thank you. Dalton is going to now take us deeper into a song, so let's enjoy that. And then Christy will be calling the ushers forward. I try not to take what's not mine. Thank you for listening.
There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden where God's grace blooms. There is a garden where everything grows, a beautiful garden where love is sown. And in this place of life and love, you can have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. And in this place of life and love, you can have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. Such a beautiful garden. That garden is you. Oh, such a beautiful garden. That garden is you.
So thank you, Dalton. That was wonderful. And thank you, Sue, I felt very inspired by your talk. Thank you. So so this is Christy Carr. You probably met her before, but she's going to do the offertory today. So
Thank you.
you're good. She's a wonderful new practitioner, so we give her all the support we can.
Thank you, Charlie. We have the ushers come forward, please. Or usher. As I prepare to give my offering, my heart is filled with love and appreciation, since what is offered here is for my spiritual well-being. I am filled with gratitude, knowing life stays in balance, for as I give, I receive.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
I give thanks for the blessed donations received in the offering this morning and during the week. I know each dollar supports the spiritual family in many ways as we grow together, pray together, and give thanks for all that this center has been blessed with today and always, and so it is.
So we're going to have a final song, then Sue and I will come up, but just a reminder, we have the social hall open for an opportunity to visit and meet each other. And I also wanted to remind you that we do have a prayer. It's a community prayer in support of our search for a new minister. And also, Reverend Sue spoke to some of the concerns that were raised in this month's awareness, as well as in her weekly update. So you may want to check that out to hear from Sue. But it's important to hear from her, and also to remind you, if you have questions, or any concerns about the process, you can reach out to any of us who are on the search committee, or to Dr. Mary, or to Sue, or any of us. But we want to hold together as a community in support for the search for the right and perfect minister to show up at the right time. And so we bless that, and we do have our candle that we light every week. The other thing is, on our website, we have a wonderful video that introduces our center for that very same purpose, and we just invite you to participate in the process. So thank you. So Dalton?
All right, whether you're here or at home, if you can stand on up for me, if you're feeling able to do that. Establish some space around yourself. Stretch on out. It's a glorious sunny morning out there. If you don't know this song, you'll pick it up pretty fast. Just goes round and round. good, all good, holy, holy. All good, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is good, holy, holy. That's how it goes. All good, holy, holy. All good, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is good, holy, holy. All love now, all love, holy, holy. All love, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is love, holy, holy. All God now, all God, holy, holy. All God, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is God, holy, holy. That's why all is one now. All one, holy, holy. All one, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is one, holy, holy. All good, one more time. All good, holy, holy. Let me hear now. All good, holy, holy. I said all in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is good, holy, holy. I said all in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is good, holy, holy.
That's a good closer. I always kind of get the words mixed up, and God becomes a glove. I don't know. So fun. I wanted to let you know that practitioners are available if something came up for you and you want to spend some time. The practitioners also have a meeting afterwards, so I'm going to tell those that are in attendance for the practitioner meeting that we're going to meet in here where it's already cooled down and we have a little elbow room. So once you get your snack, you can join us here for that. And also, I know you're standing, but that's good. Do some exercise, do some calf work. The classes that are coming up next week are really important. The Diamond in Your Pocket is a fabulous way to look at all of these discoveries of self. The class with Sacred America, Sacred Self, something sacred. Sacred America, Sacred World. Anyway, the whole idea behind that gives you another venue for conversations, and that'll open your heart. And then I've been waiting all year for Reverend Helen to come here on Wednesday nights. So she's only here for 3 Wednesdays, meta practice. That's another way to stretch out of your usual thinking, to hear it from the Buddhist, hear it from the heart of Reverend Helen. So, and then the art classes to just paint your scenes. It's all good. It's all fun. So go enjoy the day, enjoy the heat, stay hydrated, and love one another.